The Obama administration took their eye off the ball and let China just sweep in all over South and Central America with their economic and cultural influence, cutting deals with local governments for bad infrastructure and surveillance and indebtedness. President Trump said, not anymore. We're taking our backyard back. That's why I was there for a conference of Central and South American countries as well. We're going to invest in ways that serve American interests in our backyard as we stop the sphere of Chinese influence. First and free is a big signal of that. And we want to thank the Panamanian government. They've been good partners, but rightfully so. It serves their interest to be partnered with America, not with China.
Paid a person who accused you of raping her a sum of money to make sure that she did not file a complaint.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said that the U.S. will take back the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. Now, Hegseth vowed to deepen security cooperation with Panama's forces and said that China would not be allowed to weaponize the canal by using Chinese firms' commercial relationships for espionage.
China did not build this canal. China does not operate this canal. And China will not weaponize this canal. Together with Panama in the lead, we will keep the canal secure and available for all nations through the deterrent power of the strongest, most effective, and most lethal fighting force in the world.
More than 40% of US container traffic, valued at about $270 billion a year, goes through the Panama Canal. And Hegseth spoke about removing Chinese influence. And we know Donald Trump has spoken in broader terms, not ruling out military force if that's necessary. Could it get to that?
Oh, absolutely. The United States has invaded Central America numerous times in the course of the American Republic to prove its point. Of course, the Panamanians and others down there can be very ferocious. I mean, these people are not knockovers. I mean, if someone gets very mad at the Americans there, they could blow up the canal, and that would be the end of that story. What Hegseth's trying to do is to eliminate Chinese influence at either end of the canal on those various ports. He's trying to eliminate Chinese influence in terms of the infrastructure of Panama. Apparently, he's asked them to leave the Belt and Road Initiative. Apparently, the Chinese have given them something there. And the United States makes it very clear that if the canal is weaponized, that they will move in. You know, we've moved in before. We went in and took the leader of the country, Noriega, years ago and put him in a Florida prison just to prove the point. On the other hand, you know, the anti-Yankee feeling in that part of the world is not so hot, Gabrielle. I mean, there would be resistance. And it wouldn't be a little resistance, it'd be a lot of resistance. So right now, Hegseth's You know, he's doing what he thinks he can do. And I read the two translations of what was said yesterday, and the Panamanian president, of course, believes that sovereignty resides with the Panamanians, and of course that wasn't in the American printouts. So there's a little problem there with the translation, but it's very clear. It's a very fluid situation. The United States won't be moving in quickly, and I think the Panamanian president has got the hint here that picking a fight with Donald Trump at this point in his nation's history, is a very bad idea. So I think he'll try to roll with this, but the Panamanians are not going to roll over on the actual ownership or sovereignty of the canal itself.
Joe Siracusa, I want to talk to you about the tariffs. President Donald Trump has essentially isolated China, raising tariffs to 125% while pausing all new tariffs on every other country for 90 days with a lower reciprocal tariff of 10%, essentially rewarding countries for not retaliating. Is China losing the trade war?
No, not yet, because they still have a lot to resist with. You know, Gabriella, we are at war with China. It's an economic war. There are no bullets and there's no smoke, but we're clearly at war. And these tariffs and sanctions and these other kinds of things make diplomacy on the other security issues very, very difficult. I've been arguing for years in the media that these tariffs and sanctions poison the atmosphere for other more important things. And in this sense, it's not helpful. And my problem with President Trump is that his attempt to go after China has involved the entire world. You know, this idea of tariffs and then pauses for 90 days. You know, this may be a very easy thing for him to do, and he can do it because he doesn't have to ask anybody. But it also creates a great deal of uncertainty. It strikes consumer confidence. If I owned a small business, I wouldn't be hiring anybody or restocking anything right now. So anyway, this war with China, trade war with China, is going to have repercussions far and beyond the Chinese issue itself. And I think Trump is putting all of his money that he can get the Chinese to back down. On the other hand, Trump's playing for politics. President Xi Jinping is playing for his life. You know, that Communist Party runs the place, and he doesn't want Trump to destabilize the party. So the Chinese will do what they have to do to fight back on this. And it is, you know, one of the largest economies in the world. It's the second greatest power, so they can give the Americans a lot of stick here. And of course, you know, this tariff war that's ruined people's education funds for their kids, their pensions and the like. You know, this may look really playful and easy to do for politicians, but CEOs who have to worry about the long term, and I'm afraid no one in the Trump White House is thinking long term, is just looking about how to move the Chinese into position. They're dragging everyone along with them. So in that sense, I understand the president's desire to bring the Chinese to heel, but when you got to bring the whole world along in the wake of this fight with China, you're kind of making a mistake here, because you're going to irritate a lot of friends who are normally very sympathetic towards the United States.
Professor Joe Siracusa, Dean of Global Futures at Curtin University, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.